Once you complete the diamond cable segment, the hard part of the scarf is done. Now we're going to move on to basket weave. I decided to change colors for the basket weave, but you don't have to unless you want to. Basket weave is simply a combination of knit and purl stitches. In this case, to make the design come out evenly using our 15 stitches, we're going to knit 3, purl 3, all the way across for 3 rows, and then purl 3, knit 3, all the way across for 3 rows. This last block represents a purl 3, knit 3 row. This is what it looks like from the back of the work when you've purled a stitch, and actually that's the knit side, but it comes down facing away from you. So these were knit stitches, these were purl stitches, knit stitches, purl stitches. And now to get this over and under appearance that basket weave has, it's time to switch and knit 3, purl 3 across. But just as we've been doing all along, we're going to slip the initial stitch. So the very first segment, whether it be knits or purls, is slip 1 and then stitch the next 2, knit 2 or purl 2. Do this all the way across. Now that I've started a row that begins with knits, it will end in knits. The following row will begin with knits, and so will the next row, the third row. After that, we'll go back to the beginning with purls. And we'll do that for as long as you want this section to be. This is the segment of the scarf where you can control the whole length, and I will explain to you how. First of all, there are some rules of thumb about scarf knitting. In previous years, from my childhood on, 48 inches was considered a good scarf length. More recently, people have been enjoying longer scarves, the ones that'll wrap a couple times around your neck and not elaborately. And those are typically made the height of the wearer. So if you're 5 feet 6 inches tall, you would want 66 inches of scarf to make that kind of length. If your husband is 6 feet 2, you would want 74 inches of scarf. Obviously, it's not absolutely critical that you be correct to the inch. So consider the portions of the scarf that you knitted from the hem up through the diamond chain cable section to be the tails. You know how long one of them is because you've finished it. We'll be knitting another one just like it. So just say your tail is 20 inches long. You'll be knitting a second tail, which is 20 inches long. That gives you 40. So the difference between 40 and your desired length, we'll just say for ease that this is for a petite woman and we want it 60 inches long. We will then knit 20 inches of this section of basket weave. And as discussed, I'd go ahead and finish a 3-row segment. I wouldn't stop if I was at 20 inches and I had a row to go. I think that extra third of an inch basically is going to be less distracting than the broken pattern. So knit this to accommodate the fact that you've got a specific length in mind. If you had the same thing going on that I just described, 20-inch tails on each end, though we haven't made the second one yet, but you only wanted a 48-inch scarf, then you only need to knit 8 inches of basket weave. So this is the area that you have complete ability to adjust matters. There's one other way you might want to do it. You might say, I want my tails to hang down, and I want to go 1 time or 2 times around my neck with the scarf when I wear it. So it would help you to know that the average woman has a neck in the area of 12 to 14 inches around. Men are a little bit bigger, more like average, 15 to 17. There are certainly exceptions on both ends in both sexes, depending on your heritage and your muscularity and so forth. So we're just going to suppose now that we're taking a person with a 15-inch neck. You obviously need at least 15 inches per trip around. I'm double checking, but I think it's time for me to change to beginning with purl stitches. Here's how you tell. This was the last row of knits. Let me tip it so you can see it a little bit better. There it is. 1, 2, 3. These were purl stitches, so they need to be knit stitches. I am correct. That means we need to now slip 1 and purl 2, and then keep up with the pattern we've just begun. So, again, with a person with a 15-inch neck, to go around it twice, you might say, well, I must need 30 inches. But you would be wrong, because most of us do not want this scarf snug right up to the neck, tight as it can be. You generally want in the range of 4 inches of ease. So one trip around a 15-inch neck, the way most of us wear a scarf, is more like 19 inches. 2 trips is 38 inches. So you could make this center section based on figuring in that manner. Or you could go with a total length goal, as we already discussed. So there you go. Just keep knitting this basket weave, altering what stitch you begin the row with every 3 rows. And I will see you when we're all ready for our yarn tail on the other end.